like music didn't help, we're going to try the next obvious solution, the next easy obvious solution, and that's changing the needle and the awl. If you wanted the needle awl changed, you could have just asked nicely. Okay, now I gotta figure out how to replace the needle. The needle, the needle, the needle. There's a screw in here somewhere. Lefty loosey, righty tighty. You always know when it's a scrap leather, don't you? So you can't fool me. That wasn't a real boot. I only eat real boots. Come on, you can do it. I know you can. You see, I just gave you a new awl and a new needle, and you're just doing great. And happy. And in a really good mood. Oh, it's a sign. Haha! Right through on the first one. You can do it, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. You love me, I love you. So, really? A new awl and a needle was all you needed. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about some of the tools that I use to crimp vamps. The vamp is the foot part of a boot or shoe, and crimping is the process of stretching or shaping the leather so that it becomes three-dimensional. I'm a cowboy boot maker, so I'm going to show you how I crimp vamps for cowboy boots. Once I've wet the leather and let it sit in the crimp brake for about an hour, I'm ready to put it on the boards. These are called Crimp Boards. This is my crimp brake. You don't have to have one of these for crimping, but they sure do make it nice. A crimp brake works like this. You position the wet leather in the brake and then just bring the blade down. Let it sit for a while. This is a crimp screw. It sits right up here in the corner of the board, and it grabs the corner of the vamp, and I'll screw it down tightly, and then as I turn this, it pulls the leather and stretches it out. These are my crimping pliers. I used to sell tools for a guy from New Hampshire. He would go around collecting tools, and every year he'd send me a big box of tools, and I would take them to the Boot and Saddle Makers Roundup in Texas and try to sell them for him. One year he sent me a pair of pliers like this, and they didn't sell, so I sent them back. And the next year, in with the box of tools, there were these pliers again. They didn't sell again, so I sent them back. And the third year, the pliers were in the box again, and again they didn't sell. And I've been asking, what are these things, at the Boot and Saddle Makers Roundup. And that year Jack Reed came around, and he looked at them and he said, they're crimping pliers. Well, after the show was over, I only had a few tools left, so I just bought the rest of them instead of sending them all back. The mystery pliers sat on my bench for a couple of years, honestly. They sat right here on my bench. And finally one day I was crimping and I thought, Jack Reed said that those were crimping pliers. I'm going to try them. And Jack Reed was right. They're amazing for crimping. Let me show you how they work. This is my crimp table. I've got a 2x6 under here so that it raises it up off the surface of the table. I have a piece of crepe on top of it so it's not going to mark my leather, and then it's all enclosed by a piece of angle iron. That's what my crimp pliers brace against, is the angle iron. This slides up and down and functions kind of like a third hand. I can put that down on the board, and then I've got both hands free to work and pull. I positioned the vamp where I want it on the board. Now I'm going to put the crimp screw in. Make sure those corners of leather extend up under this little clamp. Screw it down tightly. I'll tighten it some, but Not too much, just get some of that fullness out. Now I'm going to use lasting pliers for the first few pulls. First of all, I'm going to do this corner. I'm going to put 2 nails in it. And then the corner of the tongue. Every time I crimp a vamp, I put nails in exactly the same spots and in the same order. Next, I'm going to put one right over the toe, and then I'll be ready for the crimp pliers. I'm going to only put one in on this side. I don't want to pull all the leather over to this side of the board. Put one on that side to hold it in place. Now I'll flip it over and do all of the ones on this side. I put 3 nails here along the bottom edge of the leather. Then I'm going to take it out and tighten that screw. I can use the hammer of my lasting pliers to smooth out any wrinkles. I don't worry about scratching the vamp leather because I crimp inside out. And so far that has never caused me any problems, not even with exotics. You can see how I still have a few wrinkles here. I'm going to try to get those out with the final pulls. And there we go. Wrinkles are gone. Now I'm going to do the final tightening of the crimp screw. Just really get out any extra fullness that's in there. These are the tools that you need for crimping. I have a pair of boots here that I made for myself in June of 2003. Now the foot has become very worn. It's not even salvageable. So I'm going to cut it off. This hurts every single time, even though I know I'm going to put an alligator foot on it. Since I know that I'm going to put a new foot on it, there's no point in salvaging this as I take it apart. Brittany is sad. She's looking at me with judgmental and accusing eyes. Okay, Brittany doesn't like my color selection. She doesn't think that I should have burgundy vamps. So she asked if I had any forest green alligator, which I happen to have. I hadn't even thought about that. So now, as per Brittany's suggestion, I think we're going to do forest green vamps instead of burgundy. And that means I still have a burgundy vamp to use for something else.
Yeah.
Yay! The most time-consuming thing on these will be picking out all the tiny little stitches holding the old vamp and counter cover on. So I'll probably take an awl home with me and take the boot tops home with me and sit and do that while I'm watching TV or something.